A slap to the face. That's how Nikita Zadorov described the Bruins' 7-2 loss in Ottawa last night, leaving Marco Sturm questioning his team's seriousness and buy-in. It's not a great place to be this early in the season.
You're Locked On Bruins, your daily podcast on the Boston Bruins. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Bruins fans, and welcome back to the Locked On Boston Bruins podcast. I'm your host, Ian McLaren, and this is a daily show where we discuss all things Spoked B. Today is Tuesday, October 28th. Thank you so much for making Locked On Boston Bruins your first listen every day. And on today's episode, we are going to discuss what went wrong in Ottawa last night, what the coach and the players were saying after the game, what buy-in means inside this room, the storylines, the stats, the significance of last night's loss. Plus, we'll also preview tonight's game against the New York Islanders. No time to really dwell on this one as they're right back at it tonight as part of the NHL's Frozen Frenzy. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel app by visiting FanDuel.com and win $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Before we get into today's episode, a quick reminder, you can find the podcast on social media at Locked NHL Bruins. That's X, Blue Sky, Instagram, Threads, TikTok. And you can also find me, my hockey thoughts, dad jokes at Ian C. McLaren. I am a lifelong Boston Bruins fan, and I've been covering this team and the NHL for various outlets for nearly 20 years. And let's not sugarcoat it. Last night's game was ugly, and the quotes coming in after the game were also not great. This is only a few days after the Bruins said they were embarrassed in that loss against the Anaheim Ducks. They were able to survive Saturday's onslaught by the Colorado Avalanche, thanks to some great goaltending from Jeremy Swayman and a full team effort where they were out there blocking 34 shots. They traveled to Ottawa. They just stink up Canada's capital. And now we have, again, way more questions than answers about this team. And when you talk about lack of buy-in and guys feeling, as Nikita Zadorov did, that it's a slap to the face. We are the Boston Bruins, he said. This is unacceptable. Morgan Geekie said, you're shooting yourselves in the foot when you put the other team on the power play 5 times and they score on 4 of them. It reminded me, look, I was watching last night the World Series game between the Toronto Blue Jays and the Los Angeles Dodgers. What in effect became 2 full games, 18 innings. I was up till nearly 3 a.m. But I was thinking about the Bruins in relation to the Blue Jays, and specifically an incident in 2006 where player Shea Hillenbrand wrote the words, "This is a sinking ship," on a clubhouse bulletin board. That led to a major confrontation with then manager John Gibbons. It was sparked by his frustration over playing time and some other issues, and it resulted in the manager challenging Hillenbrand to a fight and the player being traded away shortly thereafter. Now, I'm not saying the Bruins are quite there yet, but because I was watching the Blue Jays, and because of Marco Sturm's comments on a seeming lack of buy-in, he said you got to buy in or not. That's the difference. If you look at Ottawa, they do it, and we're not. Just straight up. Now, the Bruins did open the scoring 3 minutes in. Morgan Geekie intercepted a pass, beat Levi Merilainen clean for his 5th goal in 4 games. just go right ahead, name him as the Bruin of the day. 1 goal, honest post-game assessment, now tied for the team lead in goals with 5, and he's showing no signs of slowing down after last season's breakout year. He's also stepping up. Actually, he leads the team with 7 goals now through 11 games. 9 points puts him in tie for second with Pavel Zacha. Yeah, he's shooting something like 30%. That's bound to fall back, but he's stepping up on the ice. His game is doing a lot of talking at the moment, and so is he. He's proving to be a leader on this team. He's just signed for 5 years, and he knows he's going to be around for a while. He wants to be part of the solution, not the problem. You're not going to see him writing "this ship is sinking" on any locker room whiteboards. After he scored, though, Ottawa controlled pretty much every facet of this game, and it was lost largely on special teams. The Bruins' penalty kill had been much improved so far this season. Last night, Ottawa converted 4 of its 5 power plays. And Marco Sturm said, "We just probably were not serious enough right from the start." And that's really unacceptable. I've invoked the Logan Roy quote on this podcast a few times now, where he says to his children who are looking to take over the family business that they are not serious people. This is not a serious hockey team at the moment. Marco Sturm said it himself. We just probably were not serious enough right from the start. The Bruins could very well be on a 8-game losing streak right now if it were not for surviving a game in which they were dominated by the Colorado Avalanche over the weekend. The shots were close in this one, 24-23. Boston went 0 for 2 on the power play, 4 for 5 Ottawa went, and Jeremy Swayman allowed 7 goals on 24 shots for a .708 save percentage. And he's now back down under 900 after a pretty strong start to the season. A sub 900 save percentage. We knew part of their planned resurgence this year hinged on Jeremy Swayman recovering his form. And right now, his save percentage is worse than what it was last season when he finished with an .892. A lot of that, of course, comes from last night's performance where he had .708 save percentage, but he's kind of gone up and down lately. .838 save percentage against Vegas in a loss, .919 in a loss to Colorado, .826 in a loss to Florida, .939 in a win over Colorado, one of his better performances of the season, but then just plummeting. Maybe they should have gone with Joonas Korpisalo against his old team, but Jeremy Swayman, night in, night out, should be the guy that's giving you the best opportunity to win. And the Bruins just fell flat once again defensively. This was supposed to be a hallmark of this team. Structure, defense, discipline under new head coach Marco Sturm. And already you've got him questioning the buy-in of some players. You've got him questioning their effort. The Bruins allowing 3.82 goals per game so far this season. Only the Minnesota Wild, the St. Louis Blues, and the San Jose Sharks are allowing more goals per game so far than the Boston Bruins. It's just unacceptable. And what once separated Boston, structure, pride, seems to be eroding here. And the quotes from Zadorov, again, this was a slap in the face. We are the Boston Bruins. This is unacceptable. Those quotes tell us the problem isn't systems design, it's execution and perhaps even engagement. And we'll discuss more about what Marco Sturm had to say about buy-in. We'll look at some more of the stats and the significance of last night's game, and also preview tonight's game against the New York Islanders here as the podcast continues. Let's be honest here. Most of us can't even name all our financial accounts, let alone what they're worth. Between 401ks, savings, and investments, it's easy to lose track. And that can mean leaving money on the table. And that's why people are starting to use Monarch more and more. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. It's helped me organize my accounts, track my spending, get a better handle on my investments without having to touch a spreadsheet. Monarch's visual dashboards and smart tools make it so much easier to understand where my money's going and how to make it work harder for me. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarch.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarch.com, code LOCKEDONNHL for half off your first year. Let's discuss more here. Marco Sturm's comments post-game. They weren't really emotional. They were more diagnostic. He said, you got to buy in or not. That's the difference. If you look at Ottawa, they do it and we're not. And that's a rare admission from an NHL coach 11 games in. Some players don't seem to be fully committed to his plan. There's discipline issues. Zadorov's interference penalty very early in the third effectively erased any comeback chance, as if that was going to happen. Tim Stützle scored 5 seconds later. The bigger problem is defensive awareness, gaps at the net front, blown coverage off faceoffs, and puck management. Costly turnovers leading directly to odd man rushes. Boston's penalty kill as well has now allowed 6 goals in its last 13 opportunities, 53.8% success rate, which is just brutal. The Charlie McAvoy, Mason Lohrei pairing, which is put together to help generate offense, move the puck, get it away from the Bruin zone, up the ice. They've now been outscored 9-6 at 5-on-5 through 109 minutes together. Doesn't appear to be working. Jeremy Swayman afterwards said, this is not who we are and we have to move forward. And that's the sentiment. But forward movement might require some action here because the numbers show a repeat of last season, not necessarily a redemption path here. I mentioned the Bruins 3.82 goals allowed per game. When it comes to shots allowed per game, the volume is high as well. They are allowing 28.8 shots per game, 27.5 shots for. Last night, 5-on-5, they actually did play not bad. They had 58% of the shot attempts, 58% of the shots, but they weren't getting high quality looks. Ottawa had the advantage in terms of scoring chances and high danger chances at 5-on-5. And of course, that just elevated because they had so many power plays as well. The Bruins overall are getting decimated when it comes to shot attempts. 5-on-5, they rank 25th in terms of that differential. Shots on goal at 5-on-5, a little bit better, but they still rank 15th. When it comes to high danger opportunities, and that's when you're looking in the home plate section in front of the net, the Bruins are 30th in the NHL. They've allowed 102 high danger chances, and they've generated only 73. And that 102 is third most in the NHL, 73 kind of middle of the pack. Altogether, the Bruins it's just not working really at any facet of the game. If buy-in doesn't materialize, roster adjustments are going to have to follow. Not as a punishment, but just a necessity. Like, you start to wonder, what is the plan here right now? We'll talk about this more later on this week, but there are rumblings about trades with regards to Pavel Zacha, Casey Middlestat. You have like 6 bottom line guys in the lineup right now, with Jeffrey Viel having made the team, Sean Corrali, Mark Kastelik, Mikey Acimont, Tanner Jeannot. Fraser Minton isn't really surrounded with guys who can help him thrive on the third line. And then you look at Providence, where that team is just rolling right now. Undefeated, several guys among the league leaders in scoring down in the AHL. And it makes you wonder what has to give here. Are they going to try to ride this group out and like actively tank? Or are they going to try to be a bit forward thinking here and maybe call up some kids, give them the chance to prove that they belong at the NHL level? Because look, can it get any worse? Not really. Can you start to look more towards the future by promoting some of these guys and seeing what they've got? Probably. The Bruins at the trade deadline last year were still in the mix for a playoff spot before they sold off all those guys. Charlie Coyle, Brandon Carlo, Brad Marchand, Justin Brazeau, Trent Frederick. Then they went on a lengthy losing streak, bottomed out, drafted James Hagan 7th overall. We're already seeing that bottoming out early on this season. The Bruins have the third fewest points in the NHL. Only St. Louis, San Jose, Calgary have less. When it comes to point percentage, they rank 30th right now. San Jose, Calgary below them. Those two teams are really struggling. Calgary is only scoring 2 goals a game. San Jose is allowing almost 5 a game. It makes you wonder, who Sturm is speaking about specifically when he's talking about buy-in, and whether or not these guys are going to have an opportunity to turn things around, or if Don Sweeney is going to make a move here sooner than later. Right now, you don't love to look at plus minus, but David Pastrnak, -6, worst on the team. Charlie McAvoy, a -5. Elias Lindholm, -4. Like, these aren't stats that I love to look at because it doesn't tell the whole story. But at the same time, those guys have been on the ice for more goals for than against. Yeah, they're carrying heavy minutes. Yeah, they don't have the support from a deep roster. And yes, David Pastrnak is doing everything he can offensively to help this team, leading the way with how many points is he up to now? 13 points in 11 games. Morgan Geekie, though, he's a +1. He's not getting the tougher defensive assignment, to be sure. But like right now, things look as bad as they did during that losing streak last season. And when it comes to shot attempt differential, right now, only a few Bruins have positive numbers when they're on the ice. Something's got to change here. Like, I don't know how long you can keep trying to send these guys out. And it's definitely roster composition over coaching right now. Yeah, Marco Sturm doesn't have a ton of experience, but at the same time, it's also the Bruins not having the personnel to even really compete right now with some of the better teams in the NHL. Victor Arvidsson scored the other day, but getting too long of a leash as the second line right winger. Mikey Eyssimont, with all due respect, probably not a third liner regularly. Tanner Jeannot, he's played actually pretty good. Husnudinov in and out of the lineup. He should probably be getting a shot at better minutes because of his speed. Corrali, Kostelic, VL. But it's not the lack of scoring that's hurting this team. It's the defense. Hampus Lindholm remains injured. He didn't play last night. Hopefully he's back soon. Lori McAvoy is not working. Zadorov still taking some ill-advised penalties. Although he's one of the more outspoken players when it comes to having some pride. Tonight, they take on the New York Islanders back at home. It's less about the standings and more about proving Marco Sturm's words hit home. We need to see a better effort. We need to see more buy-in. And we'll preview that game here as the podcast continues. The NBA is officially back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you miss the start of a game or want to ride that hot hand throughout, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. Keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making a late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel. Again, new customers will get $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet hits. FanDuel is the official sports betting partner of the NBA. So after his comments about lack of buy-in and talking about how the penalty killers are being overtaxed by Boston's lack of discipline, head coach Marco Sturm said it's kind of a good thing that the Bruins get right back to it tonight because you don't have a ton of time to dwell on things. It will be Joonas Korpisalo in net tonight. And thankfully, the Islanders goaltender is not off to the best start of his own. So this is a team maybe they can take advantage of tonight. The New York Islanders, backstopped by Ilya Sorokin, not exactly a powerhouse team. Reminder, this is one of 16 games around the NHL, so it's kind of a weird start time, 7:15 p.m. as we have these 16 games with staggered starts. The Islanders are coming off a loss to the Philadelphia Flyers, a shootout loss. Prior to that, they had 4 straight wins over the Oilers, Senators, who the Bruins played last night, the San Jose Sharks, and a pretty red-hot Detroit Red Wings team. So those are some pretty impressive wins over that span. David Rittich has a .940 save percentage through 2 starts so far this season. Sorokin, like I mentioned, .875 save percentage through 6 games so far. The Bruins, Jeremy Swayman, .887. Tonight's starter, Joonas Korpisalo, has been not great. .845 save percentage, a .403 goals against average. As a tandem, .868 save percentage for the Bruins. Just not good enough. And it's not on the goaltenders themselves. There were a number of opportunities last night, number of goals where the defensive coverage was lost. You have guys, how many times have we seen it this season where a guy's just out front alone all the time in the world to bury it past the Bruins goalies? And that's kind of the buy-in that Sturm is talking about. The Islanders are led in scoring over their past 5 games by Anders Lee, who's got 8 points. Bo Horvat with 5 goals over that span. The Bruins, Morgan Geeky's got 5 for his few games. David Pastrnak leading the way with 7 points in their last 5 games. When it comes to kind of the tail of the tape, power plays equally not stellar. The Bruins power play now ranks 20th, 18.9%. Islanders slightly behind at 18.5% to rank 21st. Penalty kill, the Bruins had been one of the top teams to begin the season. After last night's display, they're now 16th, below 80%. The Islanders are 20th at 74.1%. Faceoffs is an area where the Bruins have been strong, although they were dominated in the dot last night by a Senators team that's even better. Bruins rank 4th. Islanders rank 19th. Islanders are scoring a bunch too. They rank 3rd in the NHL right now, 3.75 goals for per game. The Bruins 15th at 3.09. Islanders have been a bit leaky though, 3.38 goals allowed per game, 24th. The Bruins 3.82, which is good for 28th. The Bruins need to stay out of the box. After 4 power play goals against Monday, discipline is really non-negotiable. They have to establish an inside presence. Real lack of high danger attempts versus Ottawa. They're having too many middle ice turnovers, which are feeding rush chances for the opposition. Too many guys being left alone in front of Bruins goaltenders. And after questioning the seriousness of the team, Sturm will demand urgency in the first 10 minutes. This is the exact kind of structured, defensively disciplined opponent that exposes teams not on the same page. Boston's response tonight will reveal whether Sturm's buy-in challenge really landed. Pastrnak has 7 points over the last 5 games. But again, defensively, this team has been way leakier than we expected. The problem isn't necessarily, well, there is a lack of skill. The systems, guys aren't really seeming to get where they're supposed to be defensively. But right now, the question is setting a standard about what it means to be a Boston Bruin. They were outworked, outfocused in Ottawa. The Bruins have a chance to return to form, both in front of their home crowd and as a message to other teams around the NHL. Right now, they look like a team that can be easily pushed over, that is kind of lost without much direction. Their front office seems to think that they can inject this piss and vinegar into the lineup, and that's going to carry them through to be in the playoff mix all season long. It's just not happening. And the Bruins just aren't deep enough, good enough to compete in the NHL right now. This is not a serious hockey team until they make some tough decisions about cutting some guys, not just giving them spots because they're older. Or look, the whole reason why the kids were sent down to the AHL is because, these guys made an impression in the preseason. They showed buy-in. They have that experience. What is it amounting to right now? Not a whole lot of anything. On tomorrow's podcast, we will break down whatever happens tonight against the New York Islanders, whether they answered the challenge or it led to another opportunity slipped away and they fall further down in the standings. Follow Locked NHL Bruins for live updates. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and wherever you get podcasts. Again, I'm Ian McLaren. Thank you for making Locked On Bruins your first listen. It's part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. For your second listen, check out NHL Game Night. Every game, every night until a Stanley Cup champion is crowned. It's available on the Locked On NHL YouTube channel, podcast feed. Please do take care of yourselves, friends. Take care of each other. And we'll talk to you again here on the next episode of Locked On Boston Bruins.